Hey guys, welcome to Sippin' and Spillin' with Sid from 3 Mississippi. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're having a nice day. Man, we got hit with quite a little storm this morning that wasn't really supposed to be a big storm, and then I guess it veered. and we had thunder and some lightning and a little bit of a downpour out here, which was unexpected, but it happened. Which is good. I mean, we're going to be getting into the season where we're not going to be getting as much rain here pretty soon. So, let's get everything nice and green while we still can, I suppose. But all the little wildflowers are blooming. It's funny to see like the seasons of the little, weeds of the different wildflowers that kind of bloom around the edges of the fence and in the pasture. And now we've got these the mustard, I forget what they're called exactly, but we would call them mustard flowers, but I don't think that's their official term, but they're starting to bloom, and my hostas are going crazy right now. They're just big and gorgeous and beautiful, and hummingbirds are starting to really come in, and just very, very cool. Frankie's still under the weather, unfortunately. Mike ended up last night working on the driveway some more and kind of messing around with his plants a bit. We did not get the trees in the ground just yet. But and tonight, well, you guys are seeing this on Thursday, but as I'm filming this, it's Wednesday, so we have our live this evening. So that takes a little bit of time away from daylight hours to be able to do certain things for Mike. So in regards to his plants. So I'm not sure what all he's going to try to get done, if anything, tonight. He's actually been working on a beef stock for a couple of days now too, that he's that's something he can do when he's working, because when he pops out, for a quick like stretch my legs break or whatever from his desk, he can pop in there and stir it and check it and turn it down or whatever. And so it's on, I think this is day 3 of doing that. So we'll have a nice little bit of beef stock when it's all said and done, which is always nice to have on hand. And poor Frank, she's just, I don't know, I still feel like it might be a touch of her kind of bad sinus allergy situation that she's had since she was a kid, like a baby kid. And she's still a kid, but since she was real little. I thought she'd mostly grown out of it, and last year with her first experience with southern pollen, southern seasoning as we call it, she didn't really have any problems. She didn't really get sick. She had a couple of headaches, but that was about it. This year I feel like it's hitting her a little bit harder, so something else must be blooming. I don't know, but Mike actually went and picked her up a little bit early from school yesterday because she wasn't feeling well. So, and then she rested last night, and she said she was going to go to school today. So she went, and she hasn't had, she's had a real low grade fever. It's been under 100. But so that's one of the reasons why I think it's more sinus allergy, seasonal related than actual germ related. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on her because nobody wants their kid to be sick, and she's got so much going on this week, over the next like 2 weeks, really, that she's just, I think she's a little stressed about it. So she doesn't want to miss any more school, and she doesn't want to miss her practices, and she's got lots going on. So she's sort of just hanging in there. I'm giving her local honey, and she hates it, but I've been giving her the elderberry syrup. She says it tastes like old people. I don't know what that means. But she says it tastes like old people. So she's not a fan, needless to say. It's not her favorite thing that I force down her throat, but it is what it is. And trying to kind of adjust to, I guess, our new schedule. We got a little bit behind last week because we went to our friends all day Saturday and helped with the trees. And then Sunday just did a little bit here. And then with Frankie not feeling great, you know, some of the things that we had kind of planned to do, we sort of didn't do. So kind of still kicking around some ideas for Friday's video this week, which is like coming up. Like I need to get on it. We have some things that we want to film and do this upcoming weekend, but the weather may not be ideal for it, which is always hard. You know, if you're, it's hard when you're, you know, a homesteader or a farmer. You know, you're always kind of at the whim of the weather anyway for a lot of things. But when you have a channel on top of that, sometimes it's hard to go, well, I got to find something to film and I can't do X, Y, and Z because the weather's bad, so I can't do those projects, or I can't be filming in a downpour outside, so what can I do, you know? So kind of at the mercy of Mother Nature when it comes to that stuff, which we all are all the time anyway, but you have that added layer of, ooh, I need to get a video out too. You know, so what makes it a little bit trickier, I can hear all the hummingbirds zipping around me right now. They're so stinking cute. My turkeys are doing really well. I was telling Mike the other day, I was like, I forgot how much fun it is to raise turkeys, because it's been a few seasons now since I did turkeys. You know, the turkeys that I had before we left California were grown, and I didn't hatch out any eggs because I knew we were about to be moving. And then I didn't order any turkeys last year. And so I've got this little batch of turkeys, and they're just, once you get them past the stage of, are they going to live? Are they going to learn how to eat and drink? Are they going to figure out how to get under the heat and all of that? They're just so cute. They really are. They're like little baby ostrich. They just look like little ostriches. And they're starting to feather out a little bit on their wings, and they're getting real big, and they're just so inquisitive and like loving. And I always forget that about turkeys, especially not so much with the heritage breeds. Some of them tend to be a little bit more, I guess, skittish, but the broad-breasteds and the bronze and, you know, your larger meat producing varieties, they're more like, what's up? They're just curious and just kind of really into it. Like, what's going on? What are you about? And they just want to come and get right in your face, and they don't change. They stay like that the entire time, you know, and they're a lot of fun to raise. And the geese are doing great. The 3 goslings, I managed to save the one that looked like it wasn't doing great, one of the males. I got him through that, just sheer persistence, because he was not looking good there for a little while. And I have the 2 boys banded, so I can differentiate, because they go through that phase where, you know, it's really hard to tell. And when they're born, you can tell because of their coloring. They kind of have a little saddleback or knot on them if they're male or female. And but that fades as their feathers come in, so it's not something you can count on past a certain point. Really, after the first few days, it starts to fade and get more muddled, and then you're like, ooh, was that a boy or was that a girl? So I made sure, and I thought I had some bands, but I don't know. I know I have them. They're somewhere. I just don't know where they got put in the reorganizing of the garage and the shop. This little packet of, you know, wristlets for the birds just went missing. But that happens. That happens. I'm sure I'll run across them. But now I've got more that are actually a better kind, which I'm excited about. So, and they're working great. And I got a couple different sizes, so as they grow, I can change them out when I need to. But these will last them for a while, until they're much more juvenile. So they're doing great. So which I'm glad, because I was nervous about that one, and there's only so much you can do when it comes to birds. So it's like, you know, sometimes once they show signs of sickness, it's too late to save them. And they're really good about masking their symptoms until they're like on their deathbed, generally speaking. Sometimes I've been able to save them from the brink, but, you know, a lot of times not. And I had one bird, I shared with you guys, that one of my Jersey Giants that had gone broody, and then I found a worm in her stool when she got up from her nest and evacuated. I saw a little dead worm in her stool, and I was like, uh-oh. So cleaned everything. I went and got the apple cider vinegar and doused all their waters with that. Went to Tractor Supply that day and got some treatment, some worm treatment to take care of them over the next few days. So for 2 weeks, we're basically composting the eggs for Mike's garden, because there's different schools of thought. Some say it's fine, that the medicine doesn't transfer enough to their eggs that it's a problem. Some say no. So I just figured, well, better safe than sorry. We'll let it clear their system after they've had their treatments and whatever. I have been checking poop like crazy, guys. Let me tell you, there's nothing more fascinating than sifting through chicken and duck and geese poop to see if anybody's ill and looking for signs of it and all of that. Luckily, knock on wood, I haven't seen anybody else with any living organisms or not in their fecal matter. Nobody with any symptoms of it. Nobody acting weird or out of sorts. And I had separated that one bird, given her medication, given her separate water with vitamins and vinegar, and she hung on until today. She took a turn for the worse late yesterday, and I thought, oh, I don't know if she's gonna make it. She had a couple days where I thought she might, and then she didn't. So that was a bummer, because I hate losing birds, especially when you try to do everything you can. But I think it was too advanced by the time I realized she was sick. And unfortunately, because she had been broody already for a couple of weeks at that point, I didn't realize she was sick. Like, I hadn't seen her moving around to really be able to tell. And I had checked on her and kind of moved her around and stuff, which I always do with my broody girls, because sometimes you get some that are real bad about going on their rumspringa and getting their water and going to the bathroom and doing all that stuff. And so sometimes you got to prod them along a little bit and do a little check. And that was actually how I figured out she was sick, but I hadn't checked her in a few days. So, let that be a reminder to you to keep an eye on your girls, even when they're broody, to make sure that they're okay, that they're not sick, or that's not part of the reason that they've gone broody, which I suspect for her it may have been, but I don't know. I don't know if those two things were related or not. But she sadly crossed the rainbow bridge, so which is a bummer, is what it is. But still got a couple more days left of treatment on the rest of the flock, and then another week of basically just composting eggs and not being able to consume them. Luckily, I had the eggs that I water glassed, I'm obviously don't want to have to touch if I don't have to, just because the idea is to leave them and worry about them later. But I had a couple dozen eggs that I had collected previously to having to treat them from the flock that were in the fridge. So I'm like, cool, we're good for a little while. That'll get us through. But just a bummer, all around. And then this weekend I'll probably I'll take out the birds that I have in the brooders, the goslings and the turkeys, and I think it's almost time to expand their brooder out. I have them at kind of shrunk down. It's almost time to expand them. So I may do that by this weekend, because they did just have how sometimes with your birds they kind of have a big growth spurt. They'll be like, it seems like they're not growing, and then you go out there the next morning and it looks like they've tripled in size. They kind of just did that. So I'm gonna see this weekend, kind of keep an eye and see if do I need to expand their brooder out to full size and gut it and clean it and do all the things. So I may do that this weekend, depending on how things are looking, because the turkeys are just starting to really grow like gangbusters. So I may go ahead and just bite the bullet on that and expand it. Problem is, having 2 full-size brooders in the garage doesn't leave much room for anything. It takes up a lot of room. Even just having the 1 full-size brooder in there, which having the 2 small ones together right now is the equivalent of 1 large one. So it's a little you know, a little tight in there. So, so we'll see. We'll see. I did a bunch yesterday. I did some weed whacking out around my garden beds out here, and I messed around with the pressure washer. I pressure washed the inside of the porch here on the vinyl, and then I started to do the front of the house, and I got part of it done. Problem is, the front of our house is very, very tall, and I am very, very short. And this pressure washer isn't super powerful because it's just a little battery operated one, and that is probably too big of a job for it. But our big pressure washer right now is down. Mike's ordered a pump for it to replace it, so, and a wand that will extend it, like I think he said something like 18 feet. So I should pretty much be able to stand on the ground and do it. But then our neighbor, I guess, has a little platform that you can hook to the trailer that you can stand in, so you can raise it up, and then you can, that'll get me another, 10 feet or whatever. So, so I can finish that because it's been bothering me forever. Keep saying to Mike every time we drive up to the house, I'm like, oh, I need to pressure wash the house. I need to pressure wash the house because that front white vinyl on the front of the house just looks dingy and nasty, and so it's been bugging me. And I'm like, so I cleaned what I could clean yesterday on the bottom portion, but you have to really get right up against it and go over it, and with the little battery one. So having the turbocharged one back up and running will be nice to be able to really complete that job fully, because I don't want to have to hire somebody to do it if I don't have to, so that's the goal. Because I don't like, I tried getting on the ladder yesterday to get a little taller, and it wasn't it was like our medium sized ladder, I would say. And I don't like being on ladders, number one. And number two, trying to wield the pressure washer and the hose that it's attached to while trying to, like, you can only go so far in front of you. And anyway, it was not ideal. So hopefully that pump will fix the problem with the pressure washer, because the engine works, it starts right up, or the motor, I should say, or engine, I don't know, whatever. The part that makes it go vroom vroom, that thing, that starts right up and works. It's just nothing's coming out, and it's like spitting. So we suspect it's the pump from all research done. So I need to get that squared away. And Mike thinks he might be able to do it himself, but if he can't, then there is a small engine repair shop down the road a piece that he's gonna take it to see if he can't fix it, if he can even replace the pump. So the guy that does the small engines, we'll see. We'll get it squared away. And then my friend Beth, her pressure washer's having the same issue, so we're gonna try to fix them both at the same time. Mike has taken on that task. See if we can get those, so we can just be pressure washing everything. I do like the little DeWalt pressure washer that we got. I think it'll be really good for, like, cleaning the vehicles and doing smaller jobs like this porch and stuff. But the big one, that'll be good for other things, for really pressure washing the house. And I can't think of anything else right now that we would need to pressure wash besides that. But with all the, being on a dirt road and just out in the country, there's a lot more stuff that just kind of sticks to the side of your house. And then we're very wet and moisture here, and so you get that kind of funky sludge getting on the side of your vinyl, and nobody wants that. So it's been a week of a couple of days rather, of sludge and digging through poop. But what day is not complete without a little bit of both, I guess. So anyway, guys, I hope you're all having a wonderful, blessed day. And as always, safety's off.